One of the things that's challenging in life is other people. Well, it's a lot of what's challenging in life is other people, and we're all different, and we're all in a different place in our path and in our journey, and that can really aggravate us and trigger us, you know. And yeah, we have a mindset or a tendency to solve problems outside of ourselves, you know, to fix other people, fix the circumstances in our lives. There's a saying I like to use. If something's pushing your buttons, focus on the button, not on the finger. And this is so much of, you know, in terms of path to inner peace, like this is a really good thing to be aware of, is ultimately, you know, if there's something about somebody else or a circumstance in your life, but let's focus on people for now, that triggers you, that upsets you, just realize for a moment that if that's something that you believe that you've overcome, that you don't exhibit that negative behavior or that trigger for others, were you born that way? Because if you were born that way, then you have no right to expect someone else to overcome something that you don't understand. And if you weren't born that way, if this is something that you overcame for yourself, and now would like everyone else to do the same, you'll have to realize that that happened at a moment. It happened at a moment in time, at a moment in your life. The circumstances were all correct and conspired to you seeing what you needed to see in order to transcend that trauma or that wound or that aspect of humanity and reach that level of insight, that level of enlightenment, that ascension from that particular negative behavior. So that was your moment, and it didn't come when you were 1 year old, didn't come when you were 2. So what if someone had said to you the year before you'd had that moment, that's totally unacceptable, I can't tolerate that behavior in you, you should be better. It'd be a little unfair, because at the end of the day, you did ultimately transcend that. You did ultimately learn and change and grow. But it happened when it happened. It happened at exactly the right moment for you, because that was when you were ready to learn that lesson. And when the answer had a question for you. You know, I always say that the answer won't come before the question is ready. And so that was your moment. And it may not have been then, it may have been much later in life, in which case everyone else would be sitting around waiting for you, the way that you might be waiting for others. So just know that that person, they may have learned lessons that you haven't yet. They may have overcome things that you still struggle with, and they could show the equal amount of intolerance or impatience. So everyone's going to find out what they need to find out when they need to find out. And that's not your journey. It's not your problem. You don't have to invest yourself in that. You can release yourself from that and just allow that person to go through whatever it is that they go through, and have some faith that that will all manifest out perfectly at the right time for them. It gets a lot more complicated when it's your children or your spouse, your partner, because that's someone that's really in your life all the time, and that's behavior that affects you all the time. But even then, there's things, as I say, that you haven't mastered yet, that they have. And also, you know, I always say that when something triggers you, when something troubles you or aggravates you or upsets you, that is the opportunity, that is the moment that you have at your disposal to say why. Why does that upset me so much? because that's the part that you can work on. That's the button. That's the button that's being pressed. And I always say that there's a perfect version of you possible that isn't triggered by that. Even though the situation isn't ideal, maybe the person is being outright nasty to you, but there's a perfect version of you that is okay with that. That it may not be okay that the situation exists, you may not tolerate that, or you might put your foot down, fair enough, but it doesn't take away your peace. You're able to exist through that and be at peace, irrespective of what's going on around you. That's true inner peace. Inner peace is not sunshine and roses. It's a resilience and a calm in spite of all the things that are going wrong and in spite of all the triggers. So if something is pushing your buttons, ask yourself, what is that button all about? Why is it that this is so difficult for me? What is it that I would have to let go of? What is it about me and about this thing that I cannot get through? And focus on that. Work on that for a little while. See if there's something that you can heal there. And you can still change the situation at the end of the day, but focus on what you need to heal, because that's the only opportunity you get to see that. And you might say, okay, well, this toxic person needs to be removed from my life. I need to get this out of my life. Fine. But you can't think for a second that that's going to be the last toxic person in your life. You can't think that that's the last time someone's ever going to push your button, even that button, even that particular thing that triggers you. Maybe someone's rude. You're going to meet another rude person, and it's going to trigger you in exactly the same way. And that's fine. You can go about your life waging war on rude people. But if it's taken away your peace, and you're going through life anxious or angry, well, that's not ideal. And that's not ideal at all. You should be able to go through life with rude people, because there always will be, and still maintain your peace. And you can call them out on it, and you can behave in whatever way you see fit, but from a state of peace, whilst maintaining that. So when that person triggers you, or when something in life triggers you, take the opportunity to look at the button and say, what can I do? What can I do? Not the other person. What can I do? What do I need to let go of in order to be at peace with this? What would I need to abandon within myself? And don't ever abandon your self-love. But there's a lot of other things that we hold on to, expectations, requirements. You can let go of those. See what that would take for you. And just realize, and just remember, it's not your journey. Your journey's your journey. Their journey's their journey. And everything will happen in the right time frame for them. Just focus on that being an opportunity for you to maybe see something about yourself that could improve. That could ultimately make you more peaceful.